The glittering ballroom of the Grand Hyatt buzzed with celebration as Chicago's medical elite gathered to honor my mother's 30-year career as chief of surgery. I stood in a corner, nursing a glass of champagne, watching my sister Victoria hold court among her fellow doctors. "Can you believe Sarah still runs that little wellness center?" I overheard her telling a group of surgeons. "While Mom revolutionized cardiac surgery and I'm heading neurology at Princeton-Plainsboro, she's giving people massages and selling vitamins." The irony of her mockery made me smile. If they only knew that my little wellness center was actually the public face of Horizon Healthcare Group, a $12 billion medical services conglomerate that had quietly been acquiring hospitals across the country, including the one where my mother had just retired from. "Sarah, darling," my mother's voice cut through my thoughts. "Couldn't you have worn something more appropriate? This is a black tie event." I glanced down at my simple pantsuit, actually a $9,000 Tom Ford creation chosen specifically for its understated elegance. "Sorry, Mom. Small business budget, you know." She sighed, the sound heavy with familiar disappointment. "I just don't understand. You were top of your class at Harvard Medical School. You could have been anything and instead I chose a different path," I finished quietly. "How's your retirement portfolio looking?" "Oh, wonderful." Her face lit up. "The hospital's pension plan is managed by this brilliant investment firm. They've doubled our returns in just 2 years." I didn't mention that the brilliant investment firm was one of my subsidiaries, or that I'd personally overseen the restructuring of the hospital's retirement accounts. Let her enjoy the moment. She'd learn the truth soon enough. My phone buzzed. A message from my CFO. "Final paperwork completed. Metropolitan Medical Center is now officially part of Horizon Healthcare. Should we process your mother's hospital bill?" "Yes, the bill. 2 months ago, my mother had needed emergency cardiac surgery. A cruel twist of fate for a cardiac surgeon. The procedure and subsequent complications had left her with a $2 million medical debt that her insurance wouldn't fully cover. She didn't know yet that the hospital's recent administrative transition was actually a takeover by her disappointing daughter's company." "Sarah." Victoria's voice rang out across the ballroom. "Come here. We're telling everyone about our career paths." I joined their circle, noting the designer dresses and subtle sneers. Victoria, resplendent in Valentino, was clearly in her element. "I was just explaining how we all followed Mom's footsteps," she said, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. "Well, most of us. Sarah here chose a different direction." The group chuckled politely. Dr. Richardson, Mom's longtime colleague, peered at me through his glasses. "What exactly do you do again, dear?" "Oh, just a small wellness business," I said mildly. "Nothing as impressive as brain surgery or cardiac procedures." "Someone has to do the simple work," Victoria laughed. "We can't all revolutionize medicine like Mom." My phone buzzed again, this time with breaking news. Horizon Healthcare acquires Metropolitan Medical Center in $1.8 billion deal. Mysterio expands medical empire. Wall Street watches as Horizon Healthcare reshapes medical industry. I noticed Dr. Richardson frowning at his phone. As a board member, he'd just received the official notification of the acquisition. Metropolitan's been bought by Horizon? But that means... "Means what?" my mother asked, joining our group. "The largest medical services company in the country now owns our hospital," he explained, looking worried. "They're known for complete administrative overhauls." Victoria waved her hand dismissively. "At least we're not affected. Princeton-Plainsboro is independent." I bit back a smile, remembering the paperwork sitting on my desk finalizing Horizon's acquisition of Princeton-Plainsboro Medical Center. My sister's workplace would be mine by next week. "Sarah," my mother turned to me, concern etching her features, "with all these corporate takeovers, aren't you worried about your little business?" Before I could answer, Victoria jumped in. "Mom, her wellness center is hardly on Horizon Healthcare's radar. They deal in billions, not aromatherapy." The crowd laughed again, and I caught a glimpse of my reflection in a nearby mirror. The secret CEO of Horizon Healthcare, standing among people who thought she couldn't handle real medicine. My phone lit up with another message. "Hospital bill documentation ready. Shall we proceed with the revelation?" I looked at my family, my sister in her surgical glory, my mother basking in her legacy, both so certain of their superior paths. In a few minutes, they'd learn that the daughter they'd dismissed as a failure had built an empire larger than they could imagine. Actually, I said quietly, I think I understand Horizon Healthcare's strategy quite well. Oh. Victoria smirked. Do tell us how your wellness center expertise applies to billion-dollar medical acquisitions. I took a sip of champagne, savoring the moment. Well, for starters, I should probably mention that your new boss says hello. The silence that followed my statement was delicious. Victoria's perfectly maintained smile froze, while my mother's champagne glass halted halfway to her lips. What do you mean, new boss? Victoria asked, her voice losing its condescending edge. I pulled out my phone, displaying the latest headlines. Horizon Healthcare has acquired Metropolitan Medical Center, effective immediately. Princeton-Plainsboro's acquisition will be announced next week. As CEO of Horizon, I thought I should give you a heads up. Dr. Richardson choked on his drink. U.S.A. Hamilton? The mysterious CEO who's been revolutionizing medical care delivery across the country. Sarah Ann Hamilton Morrison, I confirmed, watching the color drain from my sister's face. Though most people just know me as that wellness center owner. My mother gripped the nearest table for support. But that's impossible. Horizon Healthcare is worth $12.8 billion as of this morning's market close, I finished. Amazing what you can build while people underestimate you. The news was spreading through the ballroom like wildfire. Doctors and administrators who'd dismissed me all evening were suddenly looking at me with new eyes, mentally recalculating their relationships with the woman they'd mocked. This is a joke, Victoria insisted, though her voice wavered. You run a wellness center. You give people massages and sell supplements. That's the public face of one of our research divisions, I explained calmly. While you were mocking my simple business, I was using it to study alternative medicine integration in modern healthcare. The results helped shape Horizon's revolutionary patient care protocols. My phone buzzed again, more breaking news. Horizon CEO revealed. Medical empire led by Harvard medical prodigy. S.A. Hamilton steps into spotlight. How a simple wellness center became a healthcare revolution. But your little office, my mother began, is part of a nationwide network of research facilities, I said. Every vitamin, every massage technique, every wellness procedure is part of a massive data collection project. We've revolutionized preventive care while everyone was too busy laughing at the concept to notice. Dr. Richardson was rapidly scrolling through his phone. The Hamilton Protocol for Integrated Patient Care. The Horizon Method of Hospital Management. That was all you? Every bit of it, I confirmed. Though I have to thank you all. Your constant dismissal made it incredibly easy to work unnoticed. No one suspects the failure of having larger ambitions. Victoria, still struggling to process, pulled out her own phone. Princeton-Plainsboro can't be. We're independent. Check your email, I suggested. As department head, you should have just received preliminary notification of next week's ownership transition. She stared at her screen, face paling further. This isn't, you can't. Can't what? Run a multi-billion-dollar healthcare company? Revolutionize medical care delivery? Own the hospitals where my mother and sister built their reputations. I took another sip of champagne. I believe I already have. My mother finally found her voice again. So, the hospital bill, my surgery, has been taken care of, I said softly. Consider it a retirement gift. Though we should discuss your pension plan, as I mentioned, my firm manages it. The ballroom had gone eerily quiet, the celebration transforming into something else entirely. Doctors who'd spent years condescending to me about real medicine were now realizing they worked for me. Administrators who'd dismissed my business acumen were calculating how many of their hospitals I owned. Ladies and gentlemen, I addressed the room, my voice carrying in the silence. I believe we're here to celebrate my mother's contributions to medicine. Though perhaps we should also celebrate the revelation that the daughter you thought couldn't handle real healthcare actually owns most of your hospitals. The stunned faces around me told their own story. My sister, the brilliant neurosurgeon, couldn't seem to process that her simple sister was now her boss. My mother, the renowned cardiac surgeon, was realizing that her retirement security rested in the hands of the daughter she'd underestimated. The next hour unfolded like a carefully orchestrated symphony of revelations. Reporters who'd come to cover a simple retirement party were now scrambling to document the unveiling of Horizon Healthcare's mysterious CEO. Ms. Hamilton, a journalist from the Wall Street Journal approached. Your Hamilton protocol has revolutionized patient care across the country. Was this always your plan? I smiled, watching Victoria flinch at the mention of the protocol she'd once dismissed as New Age nonsense. Innovation often comes from unexpected places, I replied. While traditional medicine focuses on treatment, we saw an opportunity to revolutionize prevention. Every massage at our wellness centers, every supplement we developed, was part of a larger research initiative. But your family? The reporter glanced at my mother and sister. They didn't know? Success doesn't need an audience to grow, I said. Sometimes working in the shadows allows for greater innovation. My phone buzzed continuously with notifications. Horizon Healthcare reveals expansion plans. Medical prodigy's secret empire reshapes healthcare. From wellness center to billion-dollar empire. The Sarah Hamilton story. Victoria cornered me by the champagne fountain, her perfect composure cracking. How could you do this? I'm the successful one. I'm the one who followed Mom's path. Success isn't a competition, sister dear, I replied calmly. Though I have to thank you. Your constant mockery of my little business made it incredibly easy to build an empire without scrutiny. But Princeton-Plainsboro, my department, will benefit from Horizon's innovative protocols, I finished. Though you might want to review your recent dismissal of alternative medicine integration. Your new boss is quite passionate about holistic healthcare. My mother appeared, clutching a stack of papers, printouts of Horizon Healthcare's recent acquisitions and innovations. Sarah, the cardiac care revolution we implemented last year, the new treatment protocols, were developed through my simple wellness research, I confirmed. Every time you praised the anonymous innovator revolutionizing cardiac care, you were actually complimenting your disappointing daughter. Dr. Richardson joined our group looking shell-shocked. The board meeting last month, when we approved the new management structure. You were there? Front row, I smiled. Serving refreshments from my wellness center. Amazing how invisible service staff can be during important meetings. The ballroom had transformed from a retirement celebration to what the press would later call the Hamilton Revelation. Doctors who'd spent years dismissing alternative medicine were now frantically reviewing Horizon's research papers. Administrators who'd laughed at my little business stood at attention, waiting for acknowledgement from their new CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, the hospital board chairman announced, Ms. Hamilton will now take questions about Horizon's vision for the future of healthcare. As cameras flashed and reporters called out questions, I caught one final glimpse of my family, my mother's shocked pride, my sister's crumbling superiority. Ms. Hamilton, how does it feel to be revealed as healthcare's most influential innovator? What inspired the Hamilton protocol? Was your family's dismissal part of your strategy? I stepped to the microphone, my voice clear and confident. The best innovations often come from unexpected places. I chose to let my work speak for itself, free from traditional medical prejudices. The Hamilton protocol isn't just about integrating alternative medicine. It's about recognizing that true healthcare innovation doesn't need conventional validation. Victoria's face was a study in conflicting emotions as she watched her simple sister command the room. My mother had already pulled out her phone, no doubt updating her social media with carefully curated photos of her brilliant younger daughter, Horizon Healthcare's visionary CEO. The chairman raised his glass. To Sarah Hamilton, proof that the best medical innovations don't always follow the expected path. As the crowd echoed the toast, I caught my reflection in the ballroom's mirrors. The disappointing daughter had built a healthcare empire that was reshaping medicine itself, all while her family dismissed her as a failure. One more question, a reporter called out. Your mother's recent surgery. The bill was astronomical. Did you consider it a case study in healthcare cost reform? I replied smoothly. Horizon Healthcare believes in accessible care for all, starting with our own family. My mother's eyes filled with tears as the implications sank in. Her daughter hadn't just paid her medical bills. I'd revolutionized the entire system that had created them. Later that evening, as the party wound down and the reporters filed their stories, I found myself alone with my family in what was now my hospital's executive boardroom. "Why didn't you tell us?" my mother whispered. "Would you have listened?" I asked quietly. "Or would you have tried to force me back onto your path of real medicine?" Victoria stared at her hands. "All those times I mocked your wellness center were excellent motivation," I finished. "Every dismissal pushed me to innovate further. Every joke about simple healthcare inspired another breakthrough." My phone buzzed one final time. The markets had closed and Horizon Healthcare stock had soared on the news of my revelation. Another billion added to the empire built in the shadows of underestimation. "The wellness center opens at 9 tomorrow," I said, standing to leave. "I have supplements to sell and massages to schedule. Or at least that's what everyone thought I did." As I walked out of the boardroom, my boardroom, I heard my mother's quiet voice. "We were wrong about everything." "Not everything," I called back. "You taught me that medicine needs innovation. You just didn't realize where that innovation would come from."